Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Player Journal. I have Declan with me, hiding somewhere, um, right there, and we thought we'd try something different today instead of the normal gaming news and videos that we produce. So I and Declan got to play the Prey demo that recently released, and if you've read the title, we are now going to give our impressions on what we played. So it's going to work as I give mine, Declan gives his. If you want to intervene, there you go, that word. We're going to do that. We're going to interrupt each other like we have done for the past 18 years of our life. But in the background, you'll see gameplay of my Prey demo that I uploaded to YouTube not too long ago. On that note, let's begin. Okay, so long story short, I don't like the game. when it first released, I actually thought it was being labelled as a horror game. I thought it was shipping as a horror game and everything like this. But then when you actually read up on it, it's actually labelled as an action adventure game, which doesn't make any sense because one, as I said, it looked like it was meant to be a horror game all along.
That's where the marketing went.
Exactly, yeah. Like people have related it and compared it to BioShock a lot. BioShock isn't necessarily a horror game, but it has the creepiness factor to it. Prey
Yeah,
does not.
definitely.
Prey has nothing to do with that. It and secondly, if it wants to be labelled as an action adventure game, why does it still try and have atmospheric and creepy, engaging cinematics and moments? Because once again, it just feels like it doesn't know what it wants to be.
It feels out of place in a way.
Yes, it is definitely, and that's what moves me on to the next topic. Is I went into the game, as I said just a second ago, thinking it was a horror game. So I was judging and basing it off of things like everything like that, and I feel it managed to get quite a few things wrong in the first hour of playing the game. And one of these things was it gives you about 4 weapons. Now, I'll come out and say straight away, I don't know if this is just signature for the demo or not. This might not
I
be in the
hope it
name game.
is.
It's just...
Too much early game for a horror game. Like you play, say, Resident Evil, and you start with a knife, then you get the pistol, then you get the shotgun,
Yeah,
and
you
by the end, you're a
slowly
badass.
advance. Yeah. But, I mean, even if Prey doesn't want to count itself as a horror game, I had 4 weapons in the demo. I believe you could get a crossbow as well, which makes 5. And the first weapon you get is the glue cannon, and then the shotgun. The fucking shotgun is the second gun. Like it just doesn't make sense. And like I said, and Declan agreed. I really hope this was a part to just allow players to feel what the combat looks like and plays like, because I was really hoping for that BioShock feel where you can use the wrench for a little while. You're stuck using the wrench, and then, as Declan said earlier, you start upgrading through the weapons. So you get a pistol, I don't know, maybe a little submachine gun after that, and then move on to the bigger stuff like the glue cannon and the shotgun. That's just the way games have always been, and it's the way Prey needs to be. Because
Otherwise, it's taken away like a sense of progression that the game has, and if it doesn't have a sense of progression, it's like you start on say like New Game Plus, and then New Game Plus is meant to be that this is fun.
yeah, yeah,
It
exactly.
takes
It's
away
just
from the whole horror side.
hmm,
Like when you got like infinite ammo in like a Resident Evil game, you're just like, oh, this is a cakewalk. This isn't scary. This isn't. It sometimes isn't even fun after that point. After like a run or two, you don't want to use your infinite ammo ever again.
yes, exactly, and possibly that might happen to Prey. Like saying again, as we know, this may be something that's just in the demo, not in the full game. But we thought we'd pick up on it anyway, even if it is simply a case of it's a demo only feature. It's still a bad feature to put into the demo.
Because it's meant to be a first impression. If the first impression is
It just makes you feel like a
I'm running into this
sandbox.
straight away,
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Um, and it's just I'll talk about the weapons a bit more in a second, but another gripe I had with the demo is the initial cutscene where you first see the mimics. I was kind of it hit me. I didn't realize it was going to happen. I was like, oh, when it happened, but it was over in a matter of seconds, and your character abruptly just collapses onto the floor within a couple of seconds, and once again, it just doesn't make sense because what they had was they had a good introduction to the mimics and the Typhon. I think that's how you pronounce it. The aliens, and like I said, it had a good introduction, but they just whisked it so fast and so quick under your feet that it wasn't anything memorable at the end of the day. And it's a shame because they could have had something great. They really could, as an introduction, as I mean. But it just kind of fell a bit short. It really did. So what do you? Obviously, I don't know if Declan feels the same way about that intro
I
part.
did again. It just I feel I might have built up too much on what that is where I'm there.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, it's gonna be great. Look at all these trailers. Look at all the. But it's the same thing where you watch a trailer. They splice together the good bits to make it seem how they want it to seem, not how
Yeah.
the final product is. They figured out a great way of selling this game, and it doesn't seem to be what the final product's going to be like, and we haven't exactly been told that until this beginning hour.
Yes.
And I think that's a good thing that we've like not gone, oh hell yeah, let's get into it, and then all the reviews crash a lot harder
Mm-hmm.
because I think now that the beginning hour's out, people are going to be a bit more fair to it. I know it sounds silly, but it's what they're expecting now. They're not expecting something like you said, Bioshock. So get more reviews, like higher scores, but I don't think it would get a high score based on what it was marketed as, like the horror survive. Not, it wasn't even really survive. It was like say like condemned sort
Yes.
of feel.
Yeah. That's just what it's. I mean, I certainly appreciate Bethesda or Arcane for publishing the demo because we're kind of in the era of gaming where
You don't
the
get
only
'em.
way you're gonna play a game is to buy it.
You'll
Um,
pre-order it and you get an access, but by then you've already pre-ordered it.
exactly.
You would either put down the whole money or at least half of the money,
Hmm. Yeah,
and then
and
if you want to cancel it, you've lost your deposit,
uh,
and the company's still gained money from you at the end of the day,
hmm
which is unfair.
and that's why I respect the company for bringing out a demo. We have seen a few companies lately bringing out more demos, like Mafia 3 and all this, but I don't know. We're not here to congratulate the team on making a demo. We're here to talk about the demo impressions. But another what I did like. Let's move on to what I did like before I talk about another point that severely irritated me. Was I love the concept of the mimics. I love it when you're walking along a corridor. And see, this is where I was saying it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't know what it wants to be, because you could be walking along a corridor and out the corner of your eye you see something run across the room, um, and you hear it turn into something. So you look over, but you don't know what object that mimic has turned into, and that's where the horror should come out of it. That's where you should be absolutely terrified because I mean that pen could be a mimic, or that chair, or this little stormtrooper thing you've got on your
Like
desk could be a mimic.
Dead Space, where you wasn't quite sure if the alien on the floor was dead or not. So you'd
Yes.
always go over and stamp on it. Sometimes it'll jump up and scare the shit out of you.
Hmm.
But with that, there should have you want the impression of, oh, I've got to hit everything, got to double check. I don't want to get caught off guard. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it almost
That's
feels too clean. I know that sounds stupid, but it looks too clean
well.
for
That's
horror.
a well. See, that's what I'm saying. It
It's
doesn't
the
look
style
like
that went
it's not trying
right.
to sell itself as a horror anymore, and that's what I'm trying to get at. The the impact that the mimics create, like I said, I love. It's such a cool tactic, and a brilliant idea, but it could have been so much more to be a proper, true horror survival game. Like, there's a few points throughout the demo where I come across a mimic and it was just standing there staring at me. Like, it didn't know what to do. And there was other times where I stared back at the mimic and it was like, oh shit, maybe I should be a chair. And it quickly turned into a chair. And, like, I know that chair is a mimic now, so it's not going to jump out at me. But they really need to emphasize so much on what the mimics need to turn into, how they turn into it, and how they jump out at you, basically.
It's almost like it's going to need like a day on patch to sort out the main antagonist of the game to make it. We're literally teetering on the release date of this now, aren't we? I don't know
Yes, on
if
Friday.
where we've shrunk it, but they shrunk it down into a demo, and then that's constricted the pathing or the error, and they don't like what's happened, and it's thrown it completely ski with, and that's not what the end product's going to be like. We don't. But I feel like it might need a bit more work if it remains like this, and throughout the entire playthrough of the game, you're just getting Alien Colonial Marines level of AI. Like the first time I played that game, I got scary music, couldn't find the alien. I looked up and it was on my head. I dealt in the same experience of where it's something changed in front of me. I'm like, oh, better kill that now. You know what I mean?
A little fun fact to put in there is that me and Declan right here, we are the survivors of the infestation known as Colonial Marines. We actually sat through it and played it co-op. And actually wasted quite a few hours of our lives, but we
Did
were
we put it on the
dedicated.
hardest difficulty? Or
I
we put it
believe
on the
we
hardest
might
difficulty?
have.
And we just don't want to play it anymore.
But there's a little fun fact about the team over at PlayerJohn. We are survivors.
We
But in
enjoy
any
playing terrible
case,
games for enjoyment.
but yeah, we're not going to scrape the bottom of the barrel just yet. But in any case, yeah, it's just. I know you played the demo quite a bit before me, Dex, so there might not be as many things you remember as in it that I did. But
Main
obviously the
point you
demo
brought.
was it was cut off. You weren't allowed any further into the story, and I liked where it got cut off. It got cut off at kind of a cliffhanger part where you was watching a video recording, and the video recording shut off when you're just about to hear an important speech, like, you know, conveniently every game and film does. But then you couldn't progress any further into the story. You was cut off in that area. And as much as I thought it was a good part to hang on, because they're players who want to know more, they're going to want to buy the game. But at the same time, I wanted to find out more gameplay. I wanted to. There wasn't much I got to do instead of fighting some odd mimics with a glue gun. I wanted more combat, and I wanted to feel what it was really like to play Prey, and that's another thing. The demo just doesn't. You don't feel like you've got enough time. It shouldn't start really at the beginning of the game. As much as I believe a lot of demos should, Prey shouldn't, because it doesn't have much of a build up of the beginning to the middle of the game anyway. So then if you've only got about half hour, 40 minutes of that build up, you're still not going to reach anything. And that's
It's like
just
reading
where...
the prologue to a book and not getting a bit of the first chapter.
Yeah, and putting it
Or
down
it's like a
before you
history
reach...
lesson. And that sounds stupid, but say Game of Thrones, it has this really immersive backstory and lore about the entire land, just like say Dark Souls or anything like that. But it's like reading all of that and then waiting and waiting for another book to be written when you just left on the backstory.
Yeah.
And you don't actually get to live it.
Yeah, exactly. I
Weird
mean,
one.
obviously, I know a demo is there to give a demo. It's exactly that, to give you a taste of the gameplay, but it doesn't give you enough taste. You're just kind of sitting there like, oh, I know this demo is free, but I want more. And it's not a case of I want more because I'm excited to play more. It's a case of I want more because you didn't give me enough in the first
Yeah.
place.
Like probably the best demo that I played, which is Crackdown. It does go, oh, do you want to play the first mission? Or you just run off and do your own thing.
Oh, okay.
For the entire, he puts like an hour and a half limiter on it,
Hmm.
so it will just turn off. It will cut off and say, "Buy Crackdown now." But it gave you to run around. Don't get me wrong, the story missions improve a lot in that short amount of time. But if you want to climb up stuff, get a new weapon, fight the different enemy types, get a whole feel, but not story, but know what the mainness of it is about,
Yeah, because people don't
you've got
necessarily
that.
want a demo of a story because they're going to be playing that anyway. They want a demo of how the game's going to play. Because obviously you might have a great story, but your game might be utter crap to actually feel and play.
Yeah,
And that's what people want a demo about. They don't want a demo about the story, they want a demo about the gameplay.
like as
Because
much
we
as
could
I
just
loved
watch a
Resident
story
Evil,
trailer to find out what the
yeah,
story's going to be.
you get that in teaser images. Like the best trailers usually are like bit of gameplay, bit of text, bit of gameplay, bit of text. So you have a rough idea what's going on, and you see what you're getting into.
Hmm. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just,
Dark Souls, it just says prepare to die, but the whole trailer is fighting big bosses and knight's armor and all that. You see the scale of the game and all of that,
yeah, yeah.
but there's no
I
real
mean, talking about trailers,
game on it.
this is another thing where, like I was saying earlier, it doesn't know where it wants to stand. It's Bethesda, I believe it was Bethesda, put up a video on Twitter um, about recycling, and yeah, it was for Earth Day, I believe. And yeah, it was meant to be just a funny little video, but are you trying to provide funny little videos? Are you trying to provide an action adventure game, or are you trying to provide a horror? Or are you trying to provide a survival game? Like, where are you standing? You shouldn't be able to make funny little videos because then that's going to get people like me wondering, like, so is there no horror or survival in this? Because you don't see the creators of Dead Space putting up gifs of them celebrating funny little days in Dead Space itself, because it won't happen, because Dead Space is a horror game. Horror. And that's what Prey should be. It should and it needs to be a horror game. We don't need more action adventure games. We need horror survival games. Good ones at that. And that just leads me on to my next thing, which I know we've slated Prey a lot right now. But that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving our impressions. But I did give 2 good impressions, so that's, at least it isn't 0. But one thing hate, I hate, is the pistol. It's the weakest, awful, shittiest pistol I've ever used in any game. I generally think the BB gun that I used to shoot my old monster is more powerful than the gun I used in Prey. It has barely any animation, it has barely any sound, no recoil whatsoever, really, and it's just so blech. That's what it feels like. Blech. Oh, it's just the shotgun feels alright at least, but I'm one to prefer using smaller weapons in games. Like if we're playing a game where we've got to upgrade weapons, I always upgrade my pistol
Yeah,
because I don't know, they just feel more fun, and that's what I would have done in Prey if it wasn't so awful, just so blech. Again, it's just that's the main point I don't like about Prey, the pistol.
0 out of 10, terrible pistol.
Yeah, it's awful. It really is. But in any
On a
case,
lighter note, my point, you've mainly covered all the gripes I wanted to say, so don't go over that again.
I thought we would have.
But
We kind of share the same sort of thoughts.
but I've got two relatively positive
Oh,
things. The
okay.
combat doesn't feel like it belongs in that game, but it is a relatively smooth combat system.
I agree.
Like it's not like I much like Resident Evil 7, like I said, if you got good combat, that's all well and good, but the story needs
It
and
works
Resident
because obviously it's made. Sorry for interrupting, but because obviously it's made by Arcane, it works just as smooth as their Dishonored games, like the weapon wheel and all that. It is smooth. I agree on that one. I will give it a point. 1 point.
like Resident Evil 7 isn't that great of a shooter, let's be fair, right? But
Oof, oof,
it
I
it
disagree.
can't be.
I
It
disagree.
can't have no, don't get me wrong, it's not terrible, but if you put Resident Evil 7's shooting mechanics into Resident Evil 6, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, but you know where I stand on Resident Evil
Yeah.
6.
Okay, say 4 or 5 then. Say 5. You couldn't play 5 with the slowed down aiming and all of that. It plays like the perfect Resident Evil 1 in first person view.
Yeah.
And that because that's what it's trying to be. It's not trying to be a first person Resident Evil 6, it's trying to be a first person old one, and that's perfect for it.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the problem about the Prey combat system as well, though. I feel like it shouldn't be in there. It feels sort of like almost Dead Island as well. The whole animations, the whole swing, it just feels. It
Well,
feels too actiony. I know it is meant to be an action game, but it just. I don't know.
yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from.
I'd
Um,
like it to almost be slowed down because it's not Doom. We're not diving into hell with tons of guns. It's meant to be horror-y. Not horror, but it's like meant to be these monsters that are meant to strike fear and you're worried about. But when the action's so smooth, it's like it's meant to be a breeze, and you're not exactly a military veteran or anything. And he's swinging it like he's got 10 out the park hits with a baseball bat and stuff.
mhm.
And that's just something I don't really see him having.
No, 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 no.
And that takes away from this. I know it sounds silly, but that does take away from part of the scare factor to me.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That you have a character that automatically is amazing with every single weapon they have.
Like you don't have to increase handling or anything. Like Resident Evil 7, I like the fact that they took away the weapon upgrade and it was drugs. And that sounds stupid, but that and Last of Us, you wasn't increasing your guns, you was increasing yourself. You were learning and all that yourself, and you was putting attributes and stims and all
Hmm.
that into yourself.
Yeah.
And that makes more sense than I upgraded the gun. Look at that, I shoot better. And it's like having like a level 100 character going straight in.
Yeah.
And also the showing the damage is a bit weird for a horror game.
Well, see, this is what I was.
It feels a bit like again Dead Island. Like then again, Dead Island isn't sort of a survival. It's a let's go
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
get a
that's.
separate game again.
Well,
But
see, this is what I was originally thinking of. That I was thinking about all the health bars and the thingy, but then I was relating it back to Bioshock, and obviously Bioshock does have the health on the splicers and all of that. So then I kind of put two and together, and I was like, it's not too bad, I suppose. Um, Bioshock is a great game, and will compare a lot of games to Bioshock. But yeah, like I said, I was kind of putting two and two together there, and I didn't like it at the start, but I did
eventually will
generally get
grow
used
on
to
you.
it. Yeah,
But I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, it has to. It's got to go underneath an action horror category for me.
Yes,
Maybe
yeah,
learn more than horror as well. It's not scary, but it's odd and it's tense.
hmm
So thriller, really.
yes, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
call it more of that personally. My other quote unquote good point, there's a lot in the world. It's
There
quite
is. There
detailed.
is. Yeah,
You can
there's
pick stuff up.
different pathways.
It feels a lot like Deus Ex to me.
It
You've got
is, yeah.
you've got the health and the suit. You can pick stuff up and throw it. There's interactivity with stuff like you say, see the recordings, and it feels a lot like that in a sense, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I don't want to spend too much time looking around, but if it's looking around and getting stuff I need, like a survival sense, I'm happy with that.
Hmm.
But if
It,
I don't get anything beneficial from it because I'm already stocked to the brim,
yeah, I mean,
not as necessary, and people will look over all this details you put in, which I don't get me wrong, some people might not look at Dark Souls YouTubers, they read every single iron description. They are crazy.
yeah, the exploration does, it rewards you with like crafting materials and stuff. So, in terms of that, yeah, it's pretty good. You can't really fault it there. That there has been a lot of thought and love and effort put into the actual the world environment itself. Especially as I said, with the different pathways to complete your missions and stuff. Because in the demo, you get towards one door where you can either hack and go for a vent or find the key card to go through the door. And
Again, that's very Deus Ex-y to me.
Yeah, yeah, and
It's not a bad thing.
that's not a bad thing at all. But no more points from you, Dick. We are reaching our half-hour mark.
I am pretty happy with the good and the bad that we've shared, and hopefully, I don't see a lot of it getting addressed in this short time. But I feel like hopefully these points said and thrown out there in the community, people might look at it a different way, and maybe people give it bad scores or give it better scores. People give it good scores, might lower it a bit to, and that sounds deserves in a sense. Like some games are vast. They are good games. They have some great stories, but people tend to overlook stuff when it's their favorite. I love Resident Evil 7, and all the Resident Evil games, you see my collection, you know all about it, and my dad and all that. I just critique the hell out of it. I think you critique what you love and what's good. You need to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
and that's what I hope people be like now when they're going to review it, especially in our team as well.
That's why I wanted to pull me and Declan together to make this little impressions video, because I've seen so many tweets praising Prey so much. Praising. But
buzzing.
I just wanted to get our impressions out there, because I don't know if it's a case of we're looking at it wrong, or people didn't pick up on certain things like Declan said, or anything like that. But it seems like I and Declan have a lot of different views compared to a lot of the public who also played the demo. So we wanted to get our views out there. Now, please don't hate us.
Also, like, this just might be where we wasn't as hyped for it, and maybe once the love dies down, people might share the same opinions, but they weren't willing to see it from our point of view until they've played it, they've seen more, maybe they're a bit more optimistic than us.
Yeah,
I still think it's going to be a good game, but
it just needs a bit of ground to stand in. Obviously, Prey was a loved game when it came out in 2006. The sequel was hyped, so I imagine people were hyped for this because of the reboot. But in any case, we are reached the half-hour mark. I don't want to run out of footage to put in the background of this. I can't remember how long the demo is recorded. Otherwise, you're going to be watching the black screen. So in any case, we may be picking up Prey. I will ask one of my team, Declan included, if they are intended to pick it up. If not, we might be a bit late to the party. But we're always late to the party reviews, so there's no difference there. But in any case, I hope you did enjoy today's video. We will be posting normal news daily. This should be going up the day before the release of Prey, which is due to release on Friday the 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
Friday the
Yeah,
5th of May.
Yeah.
On PlayStation, for Xbox One and Windows PC. I've never said that before. I normally just say PC. But in any case, as I said, I hope you enjoyed
No
this
one
video.
games on a Mac anyway.
No, shh, don't anger people. But we will see you in the next video, everybody. Bye.
Catch you later.